Kevin Paap, Minnesota Farm Bureau President, Linder Farm Network broadcaster for the day in Washington, D.C. Senator Franken, we just got done meeting with the Minnesota delegation. One of the things you talked about is transportation and the importance of all kinds of transportation. What did you tell the Minnesota group?
Well, we talked, of course, about rail, and we had a couple of years ago, we had that awful problem with rail that came about because of that horrible, horrible winter. And it cost Minnesota farmers about $100 million that year. That was what it was computed to be. The Surface Transportation Board, which regulates the railroads, is a group that I've been that I've talked to a lot. And I got the amount that you have to pay to file a complaint with them reduced from about $20,000 from $20,000 to $350. And it's the captive shipping, which is what that issue is called, is very important to me. There's also, I mean, right now prices are lower. Some farmers are holding on. You tell me about this. Are holding on to their grain, but this is all transportation of your crops and of fertilizer before you plant is always an issue, and it's an issue not just on rail but by river. That our locks are well taken care of, and that is under something called the water, which is WRDA, which is a water bill. So this is something we always are paying attention to. One of the other things is so much crude now, oil from Bakken, is being carried on rail that we have to find an alternate way to do that, and that's going to be pipeline, but we have to do that right.
Certainly transportation is so important. Another thing that you talked with our group about, and that's the renewable fuels, ethanol, the renewable fuel standard. You've been a champion for those for Minnesotans for a long time. One thing I think our listeners maybe don't know is you actually had a blend wall discussion with the president. We're going to meet with the EPA. What kinds of things? How can we get the EPA to understand that there is not a blend wall?
Well, I speaking of the EPA, I had that discussion with the director, with Gina McCarthy. I made the case to her that the oil companies aren't big fans of ethanol for some reason. And so they control the gas stations, and they discourage gas stations from putting in blender pumps. And one of the things that Secretary Vilsack is doing is putting about $100 million toward infrastructure for biofuels at gas stations, et cetera, and including blender pumps. And Minnesota is a finalist for that money, one of the finalists, and is one of the, I believe we're going to be one of the states to get that money. We need to have blender pumps. So cars made before 2002 can, as of 2002, can use E15. There's no reason that we shouldn't have E15 as a choice, and there's no reason that people shouldn't be able to blend a higher mix. Ethanol, you know, I told the president that you're not going to have an ethanol spill in the Gulf of Mexico, you know, and it's homegrown, and it's good for our country, and it's green, and Gina McCarthy acknowledged that. She said, yes, it's green.
You know, not only ethanol, but biodiesel being an important part of Minnesota. We certainly appreciate all your support and the help with agriculture. Reporting from the office of Senator Franken in Washington, D.C., this is Kevin Paap, Farm Broadcaster of the Day.
Now, Kevin, have you harvested the Franken 5 yet?
We have not done any harvest yet,
None.
Senator.
Okay.
Would you like to come back and do it again?
I would like to do the Franken 5. Now, how's the crop this year?
The crop is good. We've been blessed with great weather. Prices, of course, like you've talked about with the group, are not that good. Best thing now is back to what you said, transportation. Will we have the transportation infrastructure to move the grain on the rail when it needs to move?
It does you no good to raise a beautiful crop and not have no way to get it to market.
Well said. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.